Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a full makeup glam, and this is what my model looked like before I started. If you want to know how I was able to achieve this flawless and beautiful look, please continue watching the rest of the video. So the first thing I did was to pick up these baby wipes and a makeup remover from Blossom Cosmetics, and I applied the makeup remover on the face wipe a little bit, and I just used that to remove the excess oil and unseen dirt that are on her face, and just to keep the face clean. Next up, I went in with this rose water spray, and it also serves as a makeup setting spray. It gives you this very dewy look and all. Next up, I went in with vitamin C from Blossom Cosmetics, and this is just going to keep the face, hydrated, and it gives you a very nice glow. What it also does is to reduce the appearance of pigmentation, especially when you are doing a full coverage makeup. What it does is to conceal any kind of redness, pores, blemish and scars on the face. So with vitamin C, you are definitely good to go. Next up, I went in with this Cetaphil moisturizer. Trust me, this is a game changer. It is just going to smoothen the face, and it's going to help you achieve a more even foundation or concealer application, and it's also going to help your makeup to last longer. So trust me guys, you need that. And I'm going in with the second moisturizer, and this particular one is from Missmetics Cosmetics. What this one does is to help your skin stay hydrated and gives you this very nice glow. Like, it just makes your skin to radiate, and I love it so much. Next up, I'll be going in with this Grip Face Primer, and I've heard so much hype about this primer, and I decided to get it, although I'm still trying to walk my way through the process of knowing how to use this. But what this particular primer does is to keep your makeup, just to make your makeup to last longer, and it also reduces facial lines on the face, so you definitely need this. Next up, I went in with another primer, and the work of a primer usually is to just filter any kind of face lines that we have. Trust me guys, if you want a flawless makeup, you need a good primer. It's just going to enable your makeup to last long. Next up, I went in with the same rose water that I used initially at the beginning, and this also serves as a setting spray. I tried to use my fan but discovered that it doesn't work without it being plugged. Well, that's another gist for another day. So I went in with this Absolute lip gloss just to moisturize her lips, and trust me guys, this lip gloss does not have enough hype that it should have. Like, it hits low key. I love it so much. So this is Spirit that I am holding right now, and these are the kind of tools that I use right now to carve my brows. So before using it, I just apply the Spirit on my face wipe a little bit and rub it on the toe, and then I use. So this is me using a spoolie right now to brush the hairs properly, and then this is me using the razor to carve out the brows that we would not be using for this particular makeup glam. So all I did was to put the brows into shape, and this is what we have right now guys. This is just me brushing off the excess hairs that must have fallen on the brows, because at this point you know that the face is already prepped, so definitely the hairs are going to fall on the face. What you should do is, before you do your skin prep, just go ahead to carve your brows. It just saves you the whole stress. So I'm going in with this eyelash glue. Trust me, this particular glue it does the work. If you want your eyelash to hold for 2 weeks, I'm not even exaggerating at all, your eyelash, use this glue and come back and thank me later. 2 weeks or more without you touching it again, use the glue. This is what her brows look like. You can see how well they are laid. So at this point, I'll pick up her foundation, and this is the My Cheek foundation in the shade MC08, and this is just her perfect shade. Now, the reason why we use foundation is to cover up all pores, blemishes on the face, scars, marks, name it. Now, as long as you have done a very clean and a nice skin prep, trust me, you really do not need a lot of foundation to begin with. So you just go in with little and everything sits properly and you are good to go. Now, I usually do not use brushes to apply my foundation, but this particular one just did the whole work for me. It wasn't leaving lines here and there, it was just covering the whole face. I just needed little coverage and it was doing the work for me, and I loved it so much. I didn't necessarily need to go in with my beauty blender again to tap. This, like I said, was my first time using a brush to tap the foundation on the face. I usually ask myself how people use brushes to tap foundation on their faces, but it was when I used this one today that I knew what I had been missing all along. You can still go in with your beauty blender if it doesn't do the work for you, but mine did a perfect job for me. You can see that with all we have done, the skin is already glowing and it looks super good, and it looks so clean. Next up, I'll be going in with concealer, and this concealer that I'm using is from Adventure Cosmetics and it's in the shade 02. As you can see in the video, I made sure that I showed you guys all the products that I used today in this particular video. So what this concealer is going to do is to hide up those eye bags and any form of facial line or whatever you have on the face that is not supposed to be there. It's just going to conceal it properly and it's going to highlight it as well. So I'm still going in with this rose water again, and I'll just let it sit for about 5 seconds before I go in and blend with my beauty blender. So in this particular video, I had to wet my beauty blender a little bit, make sure that the water is not still dripping on the beauty blender while you use it. So I put the beauty blender into water, I dipped it into water and just squeezed the whole water out. So as long as it is damp, you can go ahead and use your beauty blender. So while you use it, make sure that you are tapping the products onto the face. You shouldn't drag it at all. Just tap the whole product into the face and you are good to go. You are tapping into the skin actually and you are good to go. Now blending is key. You want to make sure that the face matches with the neck. Even if you are going to highlight, do not do too much. So I went in with another lighter shade of concealer from Adventure Cosmetics and it's in the shade 01, just so that the face can pop more than what it is looking like. At this point, I just applied the concealer and then just tapped that product onto her skin properly. Now underneath the eyes are really sensitive. Make sure that you don't drag and make sure that your client does not react to some ingredients that we have in some products, because that's what most times makes people tear up and it ruins makeup. So make sure that you're sure of what your client's skin would accept and what it wouldn't accept. So that's that, guys. So I went in to highlight the nose, the bridge of the nose a little bit, just to make that area pop and properly highlighted. And then I went in with a darker shade of foundation. And I just used that to contour the nose properly and then the side of her cheeks. As you can see right now, I'm creating a Y at the bridge of the nose like this. I'm just creating a Y and trying to make sure that I bring them a little bit closer to each other. So make sure that the line, the Y you're trying to create, or the V, is as thin as possible, because you, at this point, you are trying to make the nose look smaller. You're just trying to bring everything together to sculpt the nose together. So I still went in with my concealer again, just so that I can blend in the darker shade and the lighter shade properly, and just so that it will not be so easy to know where the darker shade starts from and where the lighter shade starts from. I do hope that you guys understand that. So once I did that, I was okay with what I had, and I just went ahead to blend out the cheekbone, just to contour the cheekbone a little bit, and then towards her forehead, and that was basically it, guys. So at this point, I was just tapping to make sure that it looked good and nice. So I went in with this powder palette from Bicham Ageless Cosmetics. So in the area where, you know, I need to blend using her skin tone, the shade of her skin tone, I went in with a shade of powder that matches her skin tone. And in the areas where I needed to contour, I went in with a shade of powder that is like 2 tones darker than that of her skin tone, which is what I am doing right now. And in the areas where I highlighted, I went in with a shade of powder that is about 2 tones again lighter than that of her skin tone. And I just used these brushes from Flawless Ivy Cosmetics, and it just did the work, and I was good with it. So like I said before, make sure that you're not dragging onto the skin, because you want a very clean and a flawless glam. So just tap 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 using your tools. And before you go ahead to apply your products, make sure that your brushes are really clean, like you have a very clean base. It's really important, because if you have residues on your brushes, it's going to give you another effect, totally different from what you want. So make sure that your brushes are clean, and basically you are a clean makeup artist. So right now I'm just going in with a darker shade of powder just to contour her nose a little bit. I want it to be powdered, so I am just going in with a darker shade of powder. Once I was done with that, I went ahead to apply a lighter shade of powder again, just at the tip of the nose right there where we have the Y. So make sure that the lines are as thin as possible, just like this, and you're good to go. At this point, I went in with setting powder, and this is from Adventure Cosmetics, and I just used my beauty blender to apply this underneath her eyes. So you can go in with the same beauty blender that you used for foundation, or you can use a different beauty blender, whatever works for you. For me, I used the same beauty blender that I had used for the foundation routine, and I just feel like once the beauty blender is wet, it makes the products to sink properly into the skin, but once it's dry, it just sits differently. That's what I feel though, but whatever works for you guys. So at this point, I'm just applying the setting spray at the tip of the nose right there, and I'm just going to use the same dark shade of powder that I used to contour the nose, just to chisel that area properly and to define it properly. Next up, I went in with this blush palette, and this particular one is really pigmented. As you can see in the video, I didn't even tap too much, and it gave me this, and this is from Bicham Ageless Cosmetics, and I just went in with their pink shade, and then I blended it out a little bit using the orange shade, and I really loved the outcome. So if you are getting this product, just have it in mind that it's really pigmented. A little amount can go a long way. So once I was done with the cheekbone, I applied the blush on the nose like this, just a little bit, and this is what we have right now, guys. So next up is me using this eyeliner from Carite Cosmetics. It comes in a black and a brown shade, so I went ahead to use the black shade today. So this Carite eyeliner is actually multi-purpose. I use this for brows and it just does the magic. I use this for brows, I use this for the eyes, I use this for lips, and it works perfectly. Trust me guys when I say that this product is really underrated. So all I did was to draw a thin line underneath the brow. This is the area where your brow is supposed to stop, like where the tail of your brow is supposed to stop. You can call it that, or you can call it the end of your brow. So we have the beginning, and we have the arc, and we also have the end. So I used my spoolie to brush the brows properly, and then I went in with a Davis brow pencil just to give me a more feathery look. So make sure that your pencil is really pointed, and then I went in with my spoolie again to just brush all of that up. So I'm just going to zoom in so I can show you guys what the brows look like. I loved it so much. So I went in with these two shades of concealers, the same concealers that I used for the face. So for the very lighter one, I used it to highlight underneath the brow, and then for the darker one, I used it at the inner corner of the brow. Once that was done, I blended the both shades into themselves properly. So guys, once you're concealing, make sure that the concealer brush that you're using is as flat as possible, because you want a very precise shape. So make sure it's as flat as possible. You want to make sure that you are using the right tools. Very important. So for the top of the brow, I used the same foundation that I had used at the beginning of the video all over her face. So I use the same shade of foundation at the top of the brow, just so that when I'm blending it, it will blend into the forehead properly. So that's why guys, so just take your time and do it. Trust me, it will be worth it. So once I was done, I went ahead to blend all of that into the skin properly like this. So next up, I went ahead to conceal the second brow again. So at this point, all you have to do is to make sure that whatever you have done on the first brow is similar to what you have done on the second brow. You need to make sure that they look like sisters. May not necessarily be like twins, but make sure that they look like sisters. But trust me, you're an artist, so you need to make sure that you need to try as much as possible to make sure that they look alike, because the brow is actually one of the best parts of makeup. So at this point, I went in with my concealer, and then I went in with this eyeshadow palette. So I covered up her crease area and towards her transition area with this concealer. And once that was done, I went ahead to apply shadows. So I went in with a very dark brown shade of shadow at the transition area like this. But while I was applying, it was giving me like a purple shade, and it still came out really cool. And then I went in with a gold shade of shadow. This is like a darker gold shadow, and then I just applied that on her crease area like this. And once I was good and okay with what I had, I went in with a brighter shade of gold. like, and it just changed the whole game. As you can see in the video, I provided like everything that I used for this particular video in this tutorial. So I went in with a lighter shade of gold, and then for the outer corner of the eyes I went in with purple and a dark brown and also black shade, just blended the outer corner properly. And then for the inner corner like this, I went in with purple, and this was what we had, guys. It was already glowing and I loved it so much. So I went in with this Avo Cosmetics pigment because I wanted the eye makeup to really pop, and it really popped. I loved it so much. So I applied the pigment on the crease area. This is a gold pigment. I applied it on the crease area, and then for her eyes I went in with this black shade of eyeliner from Carite Cosmetics, the same one that I said I used for the brow, and it's multi-purpose here and that, this and that. Yes, I used it underneath the eyes and then just smudged that area with the same shade of eyeliner. I didn't have to go in with eyeshadow today because I already had black there, so there was totally no need. So I needed to do like a wing eyeliner for her and like a cat kind of effect, and that was what I did at the inner corner of the eyes. And then I went ahead to line the eyes. Make sure that the eyeliner that you have applied is not too thick. If it's too thick, it will cover up the whole of her eyes when she opens her eyes. Especially for someone with hooded eyes, you want everything to be minimal. So I went in with this Kiss Beauty mascara for the top of her lids and also the lower part of her lids. And then I went in with this human hair eyelash. It was just minimal and I loved it because it just gave her eyes a different shape. You can see how beautiful that effect is. It gave her eyes a different shape and a different look, and I really loved the makeup at this point. So I'm going in with this Who Is Your Girl powder palette, just to use it to dust off the excess setting powder that we already have on the face, and just so that it can blend properly and so the makeup can come out smooth. So that was what I did. So you need to make sure that the face matches with the neck. Even if you're going to highlight and contour, make sure that the face matches with the neck. It's very important. So in order to tone this whole look down, I went in with the rose water again, and it actually did tone the whole makeup down, and I allowed it to sit for about 30 seconds before I continued with the lips. So I went in with this brown shade of lippy, and then I just applied that for the top of her lip and also the lower part of her lip. And this is the lip palette that I am using today, and this is from Blossom Cosmetics. And I also went in with an off pink shade of lippy for the lower lip and then just blended everything properly. And then I picked another lip palette, and this is from Bianchi Cosmetics, and I went in with another shade of pink from that lip palette and basically just blended everything properly. And at this point, guys, this was already what we had, and I went in with gloss, and it just changed the whole makeup. It just gave it a whole different glossy look, and that was from Absolute Cosmetics. Next up, I went in with this Avo pigment that we initially used on the crease area just to highlight the cheekbone. If you're not using this to highlight your cheeks and under your brows, trust me, you are missing out. So I also use this highlighter for her jaw, her forehead, and the nose right there, just to highlight those areas properly. And that was it, guys. I went ahead to cover her head, and once that was done, I went in with this Silite So Pro fixing spray just to keep the whole makeup intact and to make it last longer. I mean, like, I saw the hype for that particular product. I heard that it's transfer proof. One of these days I'm going to try it to actually know if it is or if it is not. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope that you've learned one or two things from this one. If you have, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to your girl, like and share, and do not also forget to turn on your notification button so that each time I post you get a notification and you'll be the first to know. And if you want more of this kind of content, please comment in the comment box below. I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. I remain your girl, Lizzie. Bye.